Playable 3D printed soprano ukulele. For my first time 3D printing, I wanted to make something that I could actually use and play around with, not like some trophy that just sits in my room all day. That's when I came with an idea to create an instrument I have always wanted to play, a ukulele. So for my side project, I challenged myself to learn 3D printing and use that knowledge to create a playable ukulele. All of the resources, supplies and guidance were provided by MS Barway's principal of engineering class. In addition, all of the paintwork was done by my mom. Thank you, Miss Barbie, Solsti, and mom for making this project possible. Supplies mandatory: 3D printing access, CAD software, slicing software, ABS, PLA filament, super glue, screwdriver, at least 4 tuning pegs, soprano ukulele strings. Option: files and paper, pliers, razors, tape, paint. Dimensioning. The very first thing you need to have when starting from scratch is dimensions. When being an STL file, you can use the measuring tools to measure the 3D model. Make sure to write your measurements down somewhere to keep track. Cut the dimensions into 4 parts: top, bottom, neck and top bottom body. I recommended also measuring your pegs and screws to make holes more accurate. You need the holes to be just slightly bigger, or else fitting the peg screw would be difficult. You can also sketch some designs to add on your ukulele during this step. A soprano ukulele is 58 cm tall with 12 to 15 frets. My project is 48.5 cm tall with 12 frets, so it's on smaller size. CAD. The unit is the picture is in mm, but the actual print has to be 0.1x smaller. I had to scale down each model to 10% after I realized this. The actual measurements would move the decimal 1 to the left in mm. You can use now your dimensions to CAD your own soprano ukulele. I used Fusion 260. I recommended you to CAD the pegs to help adjust the holes in the neck, as well as the screws to make securing easier. Securing through the ukulele without holes can be done, but it's difficult and has the potential to break your print if you are not careful. You can utilize the mirror tool, make things easier. You can add your designer on the 3D model during this step. Just don't mess with the frets, holes and bridge of the ukulele. For the neck parts, I started with the side profiles because it was easier to extrude them wide than thick. After extruding, I used sketch and extrude to add the headstock. I used the extrude cut tool for the holes, nut and fret markers. For the body parts, I divided them in half and used the mirror tools to mirror the sketch. After that, I added the bridge with extrude and made holes using extrude cut. After making this project, one problem I had was the headstock blocking my hand from pressing frets closer to the nut. I recommended leaving some more space on the part here the headstock connects to the neck to fix this problem. Below the files I made using CAD, feel free to change and customize them however you want. I recommended fixing the headstock for better playability. Slicing printing. Slice the model using a slicer. I use process slicer to slice mine. You can add supporters to help with print quality, but it's not really needed. I suggest not adding supports around the bridge as well as indents and holes because it may be hard to remove the supports in those areas. You can fit two bodies at the same time as seen on the pictures above. Use 50% infill to shorten the time and resources used while still having a durable ukulele. You generally want to position on the bodies to have the least amount of support possible. For my model, I positioned the neck facing sideways and the top base upside down. You can now slice and export to file. Step 4. Assembly. Clean up and glue. After the print, you will have some supporters and some rough edges. Clean up your printer using tools you have. Some important parts to clean are the holes on the bridge and the nuts on the neck, especially if you use supports on their parts. In peak 1, I had trouble cleaning out the holes on the next test print. Step 5. Paint. Optional. You have the freedom to paint the ukulele however you want, just be careful about the frets and holes they needed for playability. I suggested getting help for someone who knows how to paint. The way we painted it is by making off the parts where we did not want paint with tape and paper. Then we spray painting the parts that were not masked. For small indents like the sun and stars in my design, we use a small paintbrush you can see in the picture that we painted first before assembly. Pegs and strings. Now add pegs using the screws. Screw the pegs all way in to make pegs secure. After that you can now add strings. Make sure the strings are in the correct order from left to right. Tie block bridge method. Pull the string through the hole from the bottom. Pull the string under and over the top string to make a loop. Continue loop string. Tune and play. You can now tune the ukulele and play. If you don't have a tuner, you can download a ukulele. Bye. Thank you.